Hello, you're playing The Waiting Game, the video game recommendation show that strong-armed in a new presenter. Me, Seb Ford. But what it's lost in beards, it's made up for in current progressive humour. How about that airplane food? Oh, Christ.
This week we're taking a look at the time-altering anarchy of Quantum Break, the Xbox One exclusive due out later this year from Remedy. Those handsome folks who brought you the time-altering Max Payne and the time-altering Max Payne 2. Also, they made Alan Wake. Quantum Break sees a time travel experiment go disastrously wrong. In doing so, giving our heroes Jack Joyce and Beth Wilder the ability to manipulate time, along with evildoer and all-round bad guy Paul Serene. Your choices in-game playing as Joyce and Wilder will decide how your particular timeline progresses, with bad guy Serene's power allowing him to see alternate timelines. On top of that, Remedy have said, how you play the game impacts the show, and the show informs how you play the game. Oh yeah, they're also making a Quantum Break TV show to accompany the game, featuring this creepy kid and this hot mum.
Do you think it's safe where we're going?
Yeah, Peyton, I do.
But without a solid release date for the time-bending game, or Yummy Mummy Series 1, what is there to sink your teeth into while you pass the time? Travel. Sorry, it's been a long time. Let's get on with this. Oh god! Oh god, it's been a long time since I crunched!
First up, there's Adjustment Team, a short science fiction story by Philip K. Dick. You know, you're right, it does sound a lot like The Adjustment Bureau, the reasonably watchable Matt Damon film. Well, that's because the movie's based on that original text. Within, we meet Ed Fletcher, or David Norris if you chose the film, who's running a minute later for work than he should be, causing him to arrive to an ash-grey office frozen in time to see the adjustment team of men busy working around his static colleagues. The team is there to make subtle changes to the world we know, in order to spark a chain of events later down the line to prevent worldly disasters.
Of course, as far as Fletcher's concerned, he's probably just gone a bit mental. Or has he? Read the book and find out, why not? You know, or watch the film. Emily Blunt's in that, and she's lovely.
You could also play Braid. You see, manipulating time doesn't have to be all explosions, and crying, and bleeding, and screaming. Sometimes you can just run around with a little waistcoat. Okay, playing with time always results in bleeding and death. But in Braid, you can reverse time and take another swing at whatever foolish mistake saw you meet your premature demise. At its heart, it's a puzzle platformer that will have you pounding your head against your monitor in frustration, but will also make you feel like some kind of time wizard once you've got it all figured out. There are 6 worlds to visit, each with its own time mechanic to master. For example, moving your smartly dressed hero Tim to the right progresses time forwards, while left reverses. Figure that out, time wizard. This adorable title from indie game designer Jonathan Blow has been around for well over 5 years, so it's hardly hot off the press. But to this day, it's still known as one of the finest arcade titles of last gen.
Now, time travel is a fun little hook used in TV that has this amazing power to cancel shows, usually because they're awful. Did you ever see Journeyman? It was genuinely awful, and I'm not recommending it. Don't watch Journeyman, just to be clear.
Flash Forward, on the other hand, is pretty decent, despite again suffering the one-season curse. Almost everyone on the planet falls unconscious for 2 minutes and 17 seconds. In that moment, they catch a glimpse of their lives in 6 months' time.
When the blackout happened, and the entire world saw the future, we all wondered, would our visions come true?
Mark Benford must spearhead an FBI operation to determine what happened to the planet, whether it will happen again, and why one person, Suspect Zero, was the only one unaffected. The reason he's in charge is because his flash forward showed him the results of that 6-month investigation. Bit of a paradox, I know, but hey, TV! Meanwhile, others see themselves with new partners and some see nothing at all. Maybe they'll be dead. Maybe their destiny isn't set.
maybe you'll give it a watch and maybe you won't. Either way, it only ran for one season, so it's a small time investment compared to that Lost. Oh no, the numbers! Piss off!
We have to go back!
No, you don't. Travel back with me now to the beginning of the show when I mentioned
Max Payne and the time-altering Max Payne 2.
because they made the list.
Remedy has its own particular brand of storytelling, with writer Sam Lake at the helm all the way through. They even put his face on Max for the first game. What I'm getting at is, in terms of matching the tone and style of Quantum Break, you'd do very well to check out Remedy's previous titles. Max Payne in particular, though, laid down a groundbreaking time mechanic that's featured in all sorts of games ever since. Bullet time, as it's now affectionately known, gives the player a temporary dose of slow motion, allowing you to accurately place shots and dive for cover when you're in a bit of a pickle. While not strictly a time mechanic that Max is aware he has control of, it's still a tool you as a player will need to use correctly and ration appropriately as you go. Wrap that up in some gritty crime thriller noir, and you're in for a great dose of quality gaming. And much like Quantum Break, it also got a video treatment alongside, although years later in the form of a blockbuster movie, that was so bad it actually made people in the cinema die. That's not true, but I've said it and I can't take it back because I'm not a time wizard.
Look, I can see that you think you know me, but I don't know who you are. My name is Captain Coulter Stevens. You're kind of freaking me out.
Imagine waking up as another person, all together, on a train, only to have it explode and kill you. Then, imagine having to live that moment over and over again in order to find out why and how that explosion happens. In the 2011 film Source Code, that's exactly what happens to Captain Coulter Stevens, played by notable cowboy Jake Gyllenhaal. Trapped inside a tiny, leaking cockpit, Stevens is forced against his will to relive the memory of a compatible commuter, creating alternate timelines in which the identity of the bomber may eventually be found. It's a gripping bit of sci-fi, and don't let the multitude of explosions distract you from the incredibly moving storyline that runs throughout. It will leave you thinking about time in a whole new light.
And that's all I've got for you in this episode, but rest assured there are plenty of time-based stories to gorge on in the lead up to Quantum Break. Perhaps you were expecting the butterfly effect, for example. Well, it's not there. That's because Ashton Kutcher should stick to comedy where he belongs.
What the fuck is this?
Hilarious! Do please let me know what you will be watching, reading, and playing in the meantime by tweeting at ReadySteadyGo and or using the hashtag GSWaitingGame. I'll be back next week with 5 more suggestions to tide you over to your favourite titles. I'll see you then.